My trousers noticed before it did. A month ago, I had an accident in the hack spot. Hey folks, so today the topic is glute growth. Gym shorts noticed the difference. I was feeling the difference. Trousers were fitting differently, and I thought, oh, there they are, or rather, there they are not. A month ago, I had an accident in the hack spot. Back, hip, and at the moment, I thought it wasn't that bad. I work in a gym, and when we love what we do, so I kept going, putting equipment back, moving weights, 200 kilos on the leg press that an individual decided not to put back. 25 kilos plates all over the gym. People forget that gym staff are humans. I forget that we're humans sometimes. Friday, 3 a.m. in the morning, I wake up and I cannot get off bed. I needed help to stand up. Any position hurt. For about 3 nights, I was sleeping in the couch in a seated position because lying down was just not an option. Pain management, that was the moment I finally stopped. So the action plan was physio, mobility work, step out of the gym properly this time. While I got assessed and ruled out anything that needed more than movement rehab. It's a month into it and the discomfort is still there. That specific feeling of the muscles strained, telling you patiently that still working on it. My glutes going quiet was not only the injury. I have been training with bodybuilding goals since January this year. Glute volume sometimes takes a step back and balancing where you put in your effort. But the trousers don't lie. Here is what I actually want you to take from this. Glutes do not come back from one heroic session. That's just not how muscles work. The body responds to repeated signal, consistent, progressive, recoverable signals over the week. Not one furious comeback that gets you out without walking on a Wednesday morning. What that actually means? Volume, meaningful weekly set. Enough volume that the muscle is actually asked to do work. Load, hard enough to give the body a reason to adapt. The last few reps should require something from you. Progression, every few sessions, more reps, more load, better range, more control. Something is moving forward. That's progression. That's what tells the body, keep this. The session are the signals and the building happens at rest. Sleep, spacing, food, all of this counts. And then time, which is 4 to 8 weeks of what I just said. And that's an honest window, not for a day, 4 to 8 weeks of showing up with a plan. Quick one before we get into movement, because these two words get constantly mixed up. Volume is how much work you do. Reps, sets, total load moved across the week. Intensity is how hard that work is, how close to your limit, how much the last rep cost you. For glute hypertrophy, you need both volume and intensity. The research and Bret Contreras, the person who literally invented the hip thrust, both points roughly to 10 to 20 sets per week for meaningful glutes hypertrophy. Not all in one day, not one session and pray. Spread it, let it recover, and come back. And rep ranges, glutes respond really well across a wide rep range. Heavy sets of 4 to 8, moderate sets from 10 to 15, higher rep pump work from 20 to 30 reps. All of it works. The muscle doesn't care what rep range you picked. It cares about effort and progression. One thing that matters a lot and nobody talks enough is tempo. The eccentric is the lowering part of the movement. Slow it down 3 to 4 seconds. That's where most of the growth signal lives. The isometric is the phase of peak contraction, which is the top of the hip thrust. Squeeze for 1 or 2 seconds and make it mean something. Concentric is the drive up, deliberate, controlled, not a throw. If you're new to these terms, don't worry. I have a full glossary. The link is on the description. If there is one movement that does more for glute development, it's the hip thrust. Bret Contreras invented it. Research backs it. I've trained with it for years. You can do it with a dumbbell, with a barbell, with a kettlebell, and with the machine. All of them work. The machine is often underrated and is the easiest to load, easier to focus on contraction without fussing around the bar. What makes the hip thrust special is the horizontal load vector. Squats load you vertically. Hip thrust loads you horizontally, which is exactly where the glutes are strongest and most active. How I train it: 3 to 4 seconds eccentric on the way down, 2 seconds isometric hold at the top, driving through your heels, tuck the chin, and full hip extension at the top. Not a bounce, not a thrust and pray, every rep deliberate. 2 more movements I keep coming back to. The kettlebell swing. This is a hinge movement, not a squat. The power comes from snapping the hinge through. Glutes and hamstrings driving. Trains the glutes under load at speed and doubles as conditioning. I love it as a warm-up or a finisher to wake up posterior chain before workout. And then my personal favorite, the abductor machine, specifically with high reps followed by a back of set. The upper glutes medius and minimus responds really well for the type of work. High reps first to build metabolic stress and pump. Then a back of set. Drop the weight, keep the reps coming, squeeze at the top of every rep. It looks simple, but it earns its place every single session. Here is where I think a lot of people leave gains on the table. Unilateral work. 1 leg at a time. The split squat, the Bulgarian split squat, are the 2 most effective glute and quad builder you can do. Slow eccentric movement on the way down, 3 to 4 seconds. Feel the stretch in the working hip, drive up through the heel. The reverse lunge is kinda on your knee, then the forward lunge, and keeps the tension on the glutes a little stronger. I especially like the Smith machine reverse lunge with a deficit. Step back onto a slight deficit, Smith machine for stability, and you get an incredible range of motion through the hip. For box step-ups, load them enough to matter and then control the eccentric on the way down. 3 to 4 seconds controlling on the way down. That's where the work is. And the kickbacks, loaded, machine, body weights, cables. I love the amount of variety of it. They isolate the glute in hip extension. High reps, controlled, squeezing at the top. It's a great finisher. And if you want to add some conditioning to glute day, lateral box jumps are underused and excellent. Power lateral glute activation and a heart rate spike all in one. Keep the reps low and keep the quality high. You can't build a muscle that you can't load properly. If your hips are restricted, your glutes compensate or they just don't fire at all. So mobility is not optional. It's not a warm-up filler. It's part of the training. So what I would work on is hip flexors and psoas, especially after the injury. Tight hip flexors inhibit glute firing. That's not a theory, that's the end of. Hamstrings, long duration holds, not bouncing. Quads and hip flexors couch stretch or deep squat holds, supine twists, cat-cow, child's pose, nothing heroic, just consistent. And hip circles, 90-90 transitions, or overall hip mobility. I do mobility work before every session and I do mobility work in rest days. A mobile hip is a hip that can fully load the glute. That's the connection. Don't skip it. I am rebuilding with the bodybuilding goal is still in view. There is time. I'll be 40 for the next 10 years. What I am focused right now is rebuilding as symmetrically as I can. Tracking every session and letting the process running at the pace it needs to run. I track my glute training, sets, reps, load, movement selection, how the session felt. Because if you're not tracking, you're just guessing. And guessing doesn't build anything except frustration. I'm putting together glute training and measurement tracking log, a simple way to record your progressive overload and your actual measurement so you can see what's changing, when, and why, whether you're coming back from time off or you're coming back from an injury or just want to train with more intention. I'll have a more detail in the next coming videos, but you can find now already in the school community as well as in the link in the descriptions down below. I'm Sam and this is Studio O Movement Intelligence. See you in the next one.